I have heard that and seen it so many times where people cut out meat
Yeah,
and then they just balloon.
yeah, that was
So
me.
how is that? And I've never actually understood how that happens. So how does that happen? What is the body doing? Is the body trying to compensate for the protein that it's not getting, or what are people doing wrong when they become vegetarian and then their weight tends to go up?
Well, I'm going to that was complete wrong. One was that Elijah Muhammad going from like this one book how to live, and it talks about the things I think anybody who's gone to HBCU was exposed to that book, and I think many of us cut out pork out of our diet, as a result of reading it. And for those who are still eating pork, you need to let it go. Really, there's nothing healthy about it. But it started with that, with cutting out the pork, cutting out the red meat, then you go into your vegetarian phase. But no one, I never did learn how to be a healthy vegetarian. And I didn't eat meat at all. I mean, no fish, no seafood. I mean, no meat at all. So the thing is that I began to eat one meal a day because I read that your body needs to rest at certain times of the day, and that you need to consume only one meal a day. Well, the time that you're supposed to eat is between like 4 and 6. So you need to eat this one meal a day. But the thing is that I was like a camel when I would eat. I would store up like a camel. But the thing is that it's like my metabolism will would decrease. So I wasn't losing weight. I was actually putting on more weight because my metabolism had actually slowed down. I mean, it's like it shut down. And so
So
that's
were
not
you
good.
getting the normal? Were you getting the daily recommended calories when you were eating once a day, or could it be that you weren't?
I think I would over.
Okay.
I think I would over. And then at nighttime it hit, and then I'm like, I want to pull my hair out. I want to eat So I couldn't stick to the one meal a day, or if I did, I would wind up consuming so much food late at night, and I would find myself snacking something about between 4 and 6 p.m. So hungry. But I was eating all wrong, and so the one meal a day did not work for me. The other thing too that happened was that by being a vegetarian, it was such an inconvenience to try to eat healthy. And my vegetarian diet consisted mainly of carbs.
I think that's a really interesting point to kind of pull out is that for those of us who, or those of you all, or everyone who's trying to start on a healthy lifestyle, not a diet, not a fad, not a trend, but to begin a healthy lifestyle, a lot of times it can be so inconvenient
Yes.
to eat right,
Right.
especially for people, you know, because she gets a PhD. She just got done with her doctorate about a year and a half ago. And for anybody else who's in school or working or have kids, it can be so
Stressful.
difficult
Yes.
to find the time even to stop and make healthy choices about food because we're all on the go all the time. I know
Right.
when I'm at work and at my desk and if I get the munchies, I might go for an Oreo. And so I had to make sure that I stopped by the store every week and got my almonds. And that way, at least I could be snacking healthy. So snacking is a part of what we do. We actually, I feel like I've read enough things to say that we do need to snack as the day goes on. But there's something about the way our communities are constructed that you can't pull up to McDonald's and get broccoli on a stick or something, or get broccoli in a get your broccoli in a McDonald's kind of like carton or whatever, and just go away with your steamed broccoli. That's never gonna happen. Maybe you all or maybe Krishi can come up with some kind of fast food for vegetarians or people who are trying to eat well. Because to think about how life could change for people, if you could go to the corner and get you some veggies in a box and just keep it moving.
Right. And I think that's a good segue to go into talking about, the juicing and the and let me be clear, I have not juiced solely for 430 days. It's been It started out with 21 days of juicing straight, and because your body needs to go to that detox process, and it helps you to change your mindset. It's like the juicing reprograms you mentally, physically, emotionally. It changes your lifestyle. It causes you to look at yourself very differently. You reassess how you used to eat, and you thought like, gee, I'm not supposed to eat it, and you realize it's wrong. But you find out so many things about yourself, and the 21 days of juicing leads you into changing your lifestyle where you're consuming nothing but raw fruits and vegetables, and really about 90% of your diet is fruits and vegetables. And it becomes a way of life for you. And the way that I've been able to maintain, the 430 days of eating, I always say juicing and eating raw and vegetables, is because what you just said earlier, it's about, the inconvenience part. You have to just say, this is my way of life. When I wake up in the morning, this is what I'm going to have for breakfast. This is what I need to pack with me so I can eat, during the day. This is what I'm going to have for lunch. Like you mentally, you say to yourself every day, this is what I'm going to do every day. It's just like figuring out what you're going to do the next day. How you going to prepare for work. It becomes a way of life, what you're going to eat. And we get to look at our past and looking at how we've eaten before the past. We are saying the way we talk about this collective community here, the way we've eaten before in the past, because we're going to change your diet. And, and you're going to say, that was my old way of life. But this, juicing and eating raw and steamed vegetables become your new way of life. You're going to transition. Your whole lifestyle is going to change. And every day when your feet hit the floor, you're going to think about what it is that you're going to consume during the day.
And that's an interesting point because it's been 430 days for Kershik at this point. But this isn't your first time that you started juicing. And I think that's important because for everybody who's trying to find the healthiest route for their body, and some people have found that other people are still looking, it's important for the stories to come out, the failure stories.
Right.
To come out. So this isn't your first time on the juicing ride.
No,
you got thrown out a couple times.
Oh yeah, I can tell you the mistakes that I've made before. In attempting to juice. I have so many horror stories.
I'm sure you guys want to know all of them.
It's so funny. In case you don't know, I'm completely transparent. I've learned. I really need to put together like some type of testimonial just of me attempting to juice and the trials and errors of actually trying to juice and diet and fasting. I mean, it's really hilarious. I could have had my own reality show just doing that. But I have tried juicing multiple times. It may start off with like one day, and that one day makes it so hard. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna try to get for a while. Okay, and then I said, okay, well, I did it for one day. Let me get myself prepared for this. I have to get myself mentally prepared for this. Get myself mentally prepared for 3 days. So I've done that before. And then you go through this, I call it the backsliding period, where you revert back to your old ways of eating. You've done all this hard work, and it's for naught because you go right back to your old ways.
So let's talk about that. You started juicing and then you backslid. What made you backslide? Because Kershik is married, and she has a child, and so you're the only one who's juicing in the house.
Right.
So we know that for those of you who are partnered and it's just part of a larger collective that you eat with all the time, it can be hard if you're the only person doing this lifestyle. So how is it that you backslid?
To be honest with you, it was just, the inconvenience of it all. When I stopped being vegetarian, I was a vegetarian for 3 years, and I stopped because it was such an inconvenience. I was frustrated every time I went out to get something to eat. There was just no healthy places to eat. So that was the problem. One, the other thing too is that I the other
We hear you, Janae. Janae says, such a great point. Thanks for sharing that you had a couple failed missions.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
It's important. It's important that you guys understand that.
Let me just say this: there's nothing wrong with failing the first time. Like I said, I've done this so many times. I've been doing this for so many years. Like I said, I have 25 years behind it. So I failed multiple times. I can tell you what works and doesn't work for me. Um, uh, but um, but it was the inconvenience of it all that I didn't plan. And with changing your way of life, you have to really prepare. I mean, every day for how you're going to eat. Eating is so important. You have to think about eating as being as equally as important as I'm going to picking up your child. I mean, it's a way of. I mean, you eating is so important. So the thing is that you have to take it seriously every day. Every day, I have to think about how I'm going to eat today and how I'm going to eat tomorrow because it becomes like I said, it's life. But I think I lost my train of thought for a second. But
The failed mission.
right, the failed missions, right? The attempt is that I would wind up reverting back to my old ways, mainly because of the inconvenience of it all.
So how long would it go before? Because you had what about 2 or 3 missives with juicing, or more than that? Notice she whispers stuff that she don't want, but she says she has more than.
I've tried the master cleanser for 21 days. I had the nerve to do it when I was preparing for my comp. Oh my god, a hot mess. What was I thinking about? Oh my god, I wanted to pull my hair out. I would be in coffee shop crying because when I would detox, I would go to like this emotional detox that most people don't ever talk about. I would cry in public places. It was horrible. And just dealing with the stress preparing for your comprehensive examination for a PhD period. I was thin. I lost a lot of weight. Now, when I went in to prepare for my comp, my mind was so clear because, I went to this detox phase. It's fasting. So my mind was razor sharp. But when I went there, everyone was like, gee, you sure are skinny. Well, I lost 13 pounds within those 21 days on master cleanse. You know what?
Well, and I think one of the important things about that is it sounds like you were emotionally dieting.
Yeah.
You're dieting before your comp.
That's very good that you said that.
Hi, thank you. Nice to see you. Oh, now everybody's, Tawanda's saying hey too. So, but back to the point about the emotional dieting.
Yes.
How many of us do that?
I think you nailed it.
You get up in the morning and you see your arms or you see whatever, and you're just like, I'm not doing this, and you decide to do something, a crash course or a crash diet or whatever. But again, for those of you who are in school, in nursing school or in whatever, she just said that she went through a crash diet while she was finishing her doctoral program, which may have done more damage than good.
Oh yes,
I got stress on top of.
Yes. And
crash dieting.
Here's the thing about master cleanser is that you can't maintain that way of life. You hear people say all the time, "Oh, I did that diet," but you wind up gaining it right back. As soon as you go back to eating again, you wind up gaining it back. Well, of course you're going to gain it back because you can't live like that. You can't live off of master cleanser. And this is the thing about the juicing and eating raw, and and not just raw, but steamed vegetables as well too, is that it becomes a way of life. You learn to maintain it. This is your lifestyle now. So when you alter that, you're gonna go back to the way that you were before because you've adopted you've gone back to another way of life.
Well, and it takes, what is it? So many times before something becomes a routine. So
21
days. And then